Thanks for the support as a channel member, Viantra. We're about a third of the way through the season and we're still in an automatic promotion spot. And Pavlov still hasn't scored again since the last video. Hello and welcome to part 67 of Bourne Again. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a home game in the league against Walsall and plus the FA Cup first round game at home against Gillingham. It's weird going into an FA Cup first round knowing that we're one of the favourites for the match and even for the whole tournament at this stage until the big boys coming in round 3 because we're the second best team in it according to league position. There we are, second in the league, well off the pace of Charlton, but let's face it, we're not in a title race, we're not in a promotion hunt, we're not even in very good form, but no one else seems to be either. It's very weird. Sheffield Wednesday, who are hot on our tails, we beat them. There's a couple of good wins in here, but losses against Rochdale, against Mansfield, a few draws. It's been very mixed form, but Charlton aside, that's all anyone's doing. So I'm going to ride this for as long as it goes and see what happens. Firstly, though, let's play Walsall and see if the ride continues against them. We've got Hardy in goal, a back four of Barnes, Kitching, O'Driscoll and Dodd, Dean and Clark in midfield, Querol, Palmer and Murray supporting Pavlov up front. The Querol and Pavlov experience hasn't quite been what I hoped it would be. Still just the one league goal for Pavlov, the one in the first game of the season. He's started 13 more league games since then. He does seem to get involved and he gets in good positions. He just doesn't seem like a natural goal scorer. Who'd have thought? Querol, I'm now experimenting with him playing as an inverted winger, which is apparently his best position. He's dropped down to a 3-star current ability player because, I don't know, he's not quite the genius that I thought he was. That being said, he's averaging a 7.05. He's got 5 assists from 15 games. So he's not in terrible form, and I think it has been a bit of an improvement playing him as the inverted winger. So that's where he's going to carry on playing for now. Scargill is probably my better striker, and at some point I'll accept that and play him. He's got 6 goals from 7 starts. But I can't get away from the fact that Pavlov, in my mind, was my first wonder kid. Even though he's not a wonder kid, he was my first superstar player that I brought in from some random country that wasn't England, and he was going to be my genius signing that took us to the Champions League. And I'm going to push that for a little bit longer yet. And I imagine Scargill will be my starting striker by the end of the season. But most of those goals he started have been on the left wing when Querol was injured. So it's a strange one. If you're wondering where Goldie is, he picked up an injury as well. So he's not even available to be on the bench at the moment. I forget what he did, but it was like a 2-month injury. So despite him being the hero of some of the earlier matches of the season, Querol is getting an extended run on the left-hand side now. And like I say, doing a better job than Pavlov, who might have to reinvent himself as a winger. Because it's becoming clear he's probably not a striker. It really is the Luke Plange situation all over again, except Plange scored more goals than this. I'm still hopeful that once he learns to speak English, we'll see the real Pavlov. If not, I'm hopeful that his value holds at £1 million plus like it is at the moment, and we can move him on and clear our debts in one fell swoop and go with Scargill. There's certainly no point in keeping a man who's on £8,500 a week and worth over £1 million. There's no point in him sitting in our reserves. So I think we either continue to play him and cross our fingers, or we look to cash in on him. We've conceded a goal here. It's a big deflection. Is Pavlov still worth over £1 million? Oh God, he's down to 475,000 now. What about Querol? He's still valued at over £1 million, but the world is figuring Pavlov out. I should have sold him when we first signed him in the summer. He'll be fine. How long is his contract on £8,500 a week? 2 years. That's not as bad as it could be, I guess. He'll come good when he learns English. He'll definitely come good. I am convinced of it. Dean's done very well to win the ball back there. He's got Pavlov supporting him. Is he going to square it to... See, they're not even trusting him now because you square that to Pavlov. It's the easiest chance in the world to grab his second league goal of the season, and that might just be enough to set him off on happy fun time and scoring lots of goals. But Chris Dean knows better. He's seen him miss easier chances than that. And just as if we're losing the trust of our lone striker, we probably need to get Scargill in the team. Murray's in there. Pavlov! Goran Pavlov, I told you he was good. Cartwheels ahoy! He gets the equaliser just before half-time. Perhaps he just needed a bit of smack talk, because this is a tidy little finish. Querol very involved. Clark did very, very well. It's a beautiful pass from Clark. Murray couldn't quite get there, but the interception from the defender is into the path of Pavlov. And look at how happy he is. That is a man who cares. My views on him have changed, because the passion in him after scoring that goal, he did like 3 different celebrations. He was over the moon. Hopefully he won't go another 13 games without scoring again now. But if that's, perhaps he only shows up for you lot. Perhaps I just need to play him in the televised games, in the games where the camera's on. I think we comfortably refer to them as the televised games. And then an immediate reply from Walsall. Walsall hovering just outside the playoffs. So they're a team that pre-season, I imagine the world would have expected to finish above us. So it's not that unexpected that they're coming here and beating us. But like I say, League One is a strange place this season, as it often is in Football Manager. League One's a weird division because no one seems to be properly going for it, apart from Charlton. Right, let's aggressively say I expect to see more in the second half, because we are better than that performance indicates. Although Pavlov on a 7.2, can't complain about that at all. They're leaving an injured man on even longer than I would. This is very strange. I can only assume they don't have another right winger on their bench. They've even made a substitution and still left him on. They've made a second substitution and still left him on. It's not like he's got a stubbed finger. He's got a potential knee injury, which he picked up in like the 20th minute, and he's still on the pitch. Right, Querol's going to come off. Scargill's going to come on that left-hand side. We're going to take off Murray and bring on O'Brien on the right. We're going to go to an attacking mentality. We're going to ask for some creativity. And they're now uninterested, so this has got to be our opportunity to go in there and at the very least nab an equaliser. If they're not interested, we've got to be able to find a breakthrough. Palmer heads it forward to Scargill, plays it back to Dean, who releases Barnes, who's charged forward on the overlap. And he's looking for options ahead of him. Misses out, loses out on the ball, but wins it back nicely. Barnes is just going to keep running. And he's just running into players and then carrying on his run. Pass the ball, for goodness sake. He gives it to Scargill. Out wide on the left-hand side. He has got options in the middle. Cross does come in. Pavlov heads it back to him inexplicably. Cross comes in again. And O'Brien heads just over. I don't really know what Pavlov's game plan was there. He just doesn't seem to have the striker's instinct, does he? Right, we're going to bring on Terry Broadbent for Palmer and push Clark further forward. I don't know. I still don't know what our best midfield 2 is. I'm trying to work that out. I imagine Broadbent is probably part of it. We perhaps don't need to have Dean on loan anymore. Perhaps I know he's good, but I think Broadbent and Clark could probably get the job done on their own in midfield, and we could use that loan somewhere else. Maybe for a striker. We lost. I'm not happy. They are happy that I'm not happy. And now we go into the FA Cup first round, feeling a lot less confident than I was before. And oh, good, we're going to give Querol a pay rise. Any chance you don't want that? Ah, Salvador Querol is a wonderful man. Both of my foreign imports have impressed me in the last 5 minutes. I take back all the mean stuff I said about them. Well, as it's the FA Cup, I'd always planned to play Scargill in this game. I feel a little bit bad keeping Pavlov until he scores and then dropping him. But he's not dropped. He's being rotated out for a cup game. This is probably a bad idea. We've also got Ralston back in at the back. And Hardy apparently is doing a Mick Powell. He's up to 3.5-star current ability now. I'm feeling more and more comfortable with my choice of goalkeeper in the summer. Alan Hardy, good goalkeeper. Let's go win a football match, because we haven't done that yet today, and I enjoy winning football matches. So let's go and win one. Is there anyone we recognise in that team? I don't know why I'm looking, really. I don't know why. I never usually look. Why are Gillingham likely to have someone I recognise? I expect nothing but a win from this game. It's going to be interesting for you to see how differently we play with Scargill as our striker rather than Pavlov, because it's the only real change to the team from the last game. But Scargill he's a proper striker, whereas Pavlov is raw and will hopefully get better. Their salaries are the wrong way round, really. Kitching plays it to O'Driscoll. Clark now looking to release Scargill. He'll through on goal, one-on-one with the keeper, and at least he's hit the target. And the keeper's saved it, but I've seen Pavlov screw them wide 4 or 5 times in the 15 or so games that we've played. And it frustrates. Murray, not quite sure what he's trying to do there, but finds Barnes eventually. Querrell brings it down nicely. Cross comes over. Murray's in and Murray scores. It's a 4th goal of the season for him. And look, we've got fans on the terraces because it's not a league game. It is just the league where we're not allowed the terraces open. It's an FA Cup game, and look at the state of this place. It's buzzing. We've rarely seen the ground this full in the, 10, 12 years that we've been plugging away with Bourne now. It's lovely to see. Someone did tell me, I forget whether it was on Twitter, or it might be on the Twitch stream that we did a couple of days ago. Someone did say that apparently it's your first 3 years in the Football League, you get the exemption for not meeting the ground regulations. So whatever happens this season, next season, if that is true, next season we're going to have to be playing in a all-seater stadium that has a minimum capacity of 5,000, and Abbey Lawn doesn't meet either of those criteria. Our capacity is 4,200 and we only have 800 seats. So I think this is our last year here at Abbey Lawn, unless we're going to develop it. But the fact we haven't so far suggests we're probably not. So I think it's ground share time next season, while we continue to find somewhere to move in afterwards. And I'm hoping, because it's been delayed longer than it was delayed with at home, I just hope that when we do find somewhere to build, we build with at least a 15,000 capacity, or at least an expansion capacity up to 15,000. So when we do make it to the Premier League, we can take the ground with us. Scargill grabs his 7th goal of the season to put us 2-0 up, and it's a lovely little finish from Jeff Scargill. I think Gillingham are in League 2, so we need to take this performance with a little pinch of salt, but we do look like a better team with this guy up front. He looks more like a striker. I think it's not as if he's cheap. We're paying him $4.5 grand a week, I think, which last year would have made him the highest paid player in the history of the football club by probably double. So his salary is not to be sniffed at. He shouldn't be a bench warmer either. But I wanted 2 good strikers. So we went and paid for 2 good strikers. And £6 million Sadler doesn't even get on the bench half the time. O'Driscoll plays it back to Hardy again. Hardy finds Dean. Dean looks up, looking for options, finds Palmer. Scargill now back to Palmer. Palmer plays Murray in. He's not going to skip past his man. He's going to play it into Scargill, and Scargill's going to score again. And he is making it very, very difficult for me to drop him again for the next league game. Pavlov is going to have to earn his way back into this team, because I can hear the comment section now telling me that Jeff Scargill is my best striker. And he's continuing to prove it constantly. What am I clicking on there? Whoever Ted Harrison is, I can't even see a Ted Harrison in either team. Whoever he is, he's probably going to score. Querrell, big free kick from deep. Scargill nods it down. The ball is bobbling around in the area and nobody in there to apply a finish. Ideally, that's where you have your striker in the mix, but he wasn't in there because he was too busy nodding it down. Querrell's got 2 of the assists today, so he's having a very good game as well. I think cult hero status for him for accepting that he didn't need to have his pay rise. That is the first time in the history of Bourne that we've asked a player to waive a clause like that and they've agreed to it. You wouldn't expect it from the 26-year-old Spanish journeyman who's come in presumably for the money. Palmer's done fantastically here, but can't quite apply the finish. All the young English lads we've had over the years who you would think are there for the love of the club. No, they all want their pay rises. But Querrell, he has my eternal respect now. O'Driscoll can't quite find the way. I mean, I guess you do have to take it into account that his pay rise was to take him from £4.5 grand a week to £5 grand a week. It's a little bit different from going from 600 to £1.5 grand, I guess. But even so, if you're an 18-year-old lad, £600 a week is more money than I've ever earned in a job. So, you know, it's Barnes is in and scores our 4th. Only his first goal of the season. We don't get the full cartwheel, but we get a front roll or a forward roll. I've not done one of those since I was about 9, so I don't remember what they're called. I think if I tried to do one now, I think there's a good chance I'd kill myself. I'd probably snap my neck or something trying to do it, but it's a lovely finish from Barnes, and he can still do it. So he's going to show off and prove to me that he can. We've got over 2,000 people in Abbey Lawn today, although don't get too excited. 1,600 of them are from Gillingham. Scargill's in. Scargill has his hat-trick and his 9th goal of the season, and it's 5-0 to Bourne now. And we might only have 400 fans in here, but we've absolutely got the best team out there today. We've created 7 clear-cut chances, scored 5 goals. I told you to keep an eye on how different the attacking play would be with Scargill in rather than Pavlov. And Scargill and Querol seem to have some nice connection there. A 3rd assist for Querol. It's a lovely pass, and of course he picks up an injury, which actually is likely to mean Pavlov comes on and Scargill goes out onto the wing, because it's the only real change that works. So I guess it gives Pavlov 20 minutes to see if he can look as dangerous against Gillingham as Scargill has. But he doesn't have Querol there as an assist machine. Clark from range. What a goal from Clark. 6-0 now. This is the kind of performance I wanted you to see. This is Bourne at their best. I see this from time to time in the in-betweeny bits. You don't often see this in an episode. And it's nice to be able to show just how good we are. What a goal that is. That's a goal of the season candidate. Yes, we want to confirm that change. We want to make the rest of our changes as well now. I don't know why I only made one. It was the 70th minute. That's substitute o'clock. Palmer, we haven't got Goddard on the bench today, so we'll make that change again. Broadbent can come on. We may as well make our 3rd while we're here. Who have we got? Should we take O'Driscoll off because he's on a yellow card? We ain't as usual. Don't have a centre back on the bench, so we'll take off Ralston and bring on Dodd, just for the sake of making a change. I think we probably owe a little bit of praise, so we'll drop some praise. And what we'd like to see is a 7th goal, and we'd like it to come from Pavlov. Scargill's going to take a corner. What can't this man do? In swinging corner on his left foot, doesn't find a Bourne shirt, but there's Scargill again, plays it into Murray, it falls to O'Driscoll. Clark is there again, and Clark gets his 2nd of the game, his 5th of the season, our 7th of the afternoon. We're going to get a nice time slot on match of the day tonight, it seems. This has got to be the biggest result of the first round of the FA Cup. This is Bourne putting down a marker that we're ready for a cup run this year. We want money. We want a big 3rd round away tie, because we've been asking for it for years and we rarely get it. I know Villa was quite big the other year, but we want Manchester United away in the 3rd round. We want the money tie. And I know we're only in the 2nd round so far, but there's not going to be many teams who are going to be capable of knocking us out, because you've seen the league table. We're right there near the top of League One. So hopefully the 3rd round is in our future. And Querol's only going to miss a couple of days. So, and we've got 40 grand for that. 40 grand is a lot of money for a team as skint as we are. We're £1 million in debt. It's not that helpful, but it's still a lot of money. And we will be back tomorrow. When's the 2nd round? Depending on who we get, we might just skip the 2nd round and get a little bit further into the meat of the league season, because it only gives us another 3 league games. If it's an interesting one, we'll do that. If not, we'll come back for our usual Christmas games, or maybe even the 3rd round. If we get there and it's someone interesting, it'll probably be in place of that Coventry game. We could even get a situation where we have the 3rd round and Charlton back to back, and that would be perfect to come back for. And if you've enjoyed that, though, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.